The 26th of May, 1899, Volume 2. Contempt of oneself must be united to faith. This morning I was in such a state of annihilation of myself, to the point of feeling obnoxious and annoyed. It seemed to me I was the most abominable being that could be found. I saw myself like a little worm that tossed and turned, but remained always there in the mud, unable to take one step. Oh, what human misery! Yet after I have been given so many graces, I am still so bad. My good Jesus, always benign with this miserable sinner, came and told me, contempt of yourself is praiseworthy when it is well invested with the spirit of faith. But when it is not invested with the spirit of faith, instead of doing you good, it can harm you. In fact, in seeing yourself as you are, unable to do anything good, you will be discouraged, disheartened, without daring to take one step on the path of good. But by leaning on me, that is, by investing yourself with the spirit of faith, you will come to know and despise yourself, and at the same time to know me, confident of being able to do anything with my help. And here is how, by acting in this way, you will walk according to the truth. How much good these words of Jesus have done to my soul. I understood that I must enter into my nothingness and know who I am, but I must not stop there. Rather, immediately after I have known myself, I must fly into the immensity of God and stop there to draw all the graces that my soul needs. Otherwise, nature becomes weary, and the devil will look for means in order to cast it into discouragement. May the Lord be always blessed, and may everything be for his glory. End of the reading. The 26th of May, 1905, Volume 6. When the soul is all of Jesus, he feels her murmuring within his being. As I was outside of myself, I found myself with baby Jesus in my arms, and I said to him, my pretty little one, I am all and always yours. Oh, please do not permit anything to flow within me, be it even the shadow, which is not yours. And he, my daughter, when the soul is all mine, I feel a continuous murmuring of her being within me. I feel this continuous murmuring of hers flow in my voice, in my heart, in my mind, in my hands, in my steps, and even in my blood. Oh, how sweet is this murmuring of hers in me. And as I feel it, I keep repeating, everything, everything, everything of this soul is mine. And I love you. I love you so much. And I see all the murmuring of my love in her. So just as I feel hers, the soul feels my murmuring in all of her being. Therefore, if the soul feels my murmuring flow in all of herself, it is a sign that the soul is all mine. End of the reading. The 26th of May, 1927, Volume 21. How God in creation formed many rooms in order to dwell in them, so as to let himself always be found by man in order to give him his qualities. A doubt that Jesus solves. How what seems difficult to the soul is easy for God. Laments of the soul. Jesus reassures her. My state of abandonment in the divine fiat continues, and after having followed it in its acts of creation, I was thinking of how to reorder again, before the Supreme Majesty, all the relations between creator and creature that human ingratitude had broken. And my adored Jesus, coming out of my interior, told me, my daughter, look at the whole creation, the heavens, the innumerable stars, the sun, the wind, the sea, the flowery fields, the mountains and the valleys. These are all rooms that I formed. And in each room I formed my royal palace to make of it my dwelling. And this in order to make it easier for man, so that wherever he wanted to come to find his God, I would give him the chance to find him immediately and everywhere. And he placed himself in each room in the act of waiting for him, leaving all the rooms open so as not to give him the bother of having to knock, but so that he might enter freely. As many times as he wanted, he would be ready to receive him. The Creator of heaven and earth did not place himself at one point only, but everywhere, so that man might find him always. And he placed these rooms so close to each other so as to form many shortcuts, because between Creator and creature there is to be no distance, but closeness and communion. So all the rooms were and are relations, bonds, and ways between God and man. But who was to maintain these relations, enforce, strengthen these bonds, order the ways, open the doors? Our will, reigning in man, would take on this commitment so important of maintaining the order of all creation just as we issued it. As he withdrew from the divine fiat, the relations were no longer in force, the bonds were loosened, the ways barred, the doors closed. He lost his dear inheritance. He remained stripped of all goods. Each step was a lace at his feet to make him fall. By not doing our will, one loses everything, and there is no good left to him, while by doing it, one acquires everything, and there is no good that is not given back to him. What did the paternal goodness of the Creator not do in creation for love of man? He not only formed many rooms, but each different from the other, so as to let himself be found in many different ways by him whom he loved. In the sun he would let himself be found, invested with light, all majesty, burning with love, waiting for him in order to give him his light, so as to let himself be comprehended, to give him his love, so that by entering into this room to find his God, man might become light and love. In the sea he would let himself be found as the strong God, to give him strength. In the wind he would let himself be found ruling and dominating, to give him rule and dominion. In each created thing he waited for man, to give him the participation in his qualities. After this I was thinking to myself, Jesus loves his will so much, and it seems that he so much yearns for it to be known, so that it may dominate and reign. But it seems difficult to me that the divine will may be known, because there is no one who occupies himself with it, nor is anyone interested. All the interest is of Jesus, but in creatures it does not exist. So if these creatures neglect to give this great glory to God, as well as to hold out the fullness of all goods to creatures, how can the kingdom of the divine eternal fiat ever become known? Now, while I was thinking of this, my sweet Jesus moved in my interior and told me, "My daughter, what seems difficult to you is not difficult for God. Just as in redemption there were no difficulties for God, nor could all the human perfidy hinder the course of our love, and even less the fulfillment of our decision to come to redeem mankind. When the divinity decides to do an act, to accomplish a work, whatever the causes, the circumstances, the impediments might be, it triumphs over everything. It conquers everything, and it does what it has established. So the culmination and important point for God is in establishing what he wants to do. Once he has done this, he has done everything. Therefore, if in us it is established that our will must be known and that his kingdom will come upon earth, it is as though already done. Just as redemption was accomplished because it was established by us, so it will be done for our will. More so, since this, its kingdom, was issued by the divinity in creation, fully in order so that it might reign and dominate. And with the fall of man, this kingdom was not destroyed, but remained intact, and it still exists. Only it remains suspended for man. In redemption, I smoothed everything out. And just as I did everything so that man might be redeemed, so I did everything so that this suspension be removed, and the creature might enter into the kingdom of the divine fiat, first giving place to redemption, and then with time giving place to my will. So what is difficult is to form a kingdom, a work, but once it is done, it becomes easy to make it known. More so, since your Jesus does not lack power, I may lack wanting to do or not do a work, but power I never lack. I will dispose things, circumstances, creatures, events, in such a way as to make it easy for my will to become known. Then I felt all afflicted, and I thought to myself, how hard is my state? I feel I cannot go on. The divine will is inexorable, immutable, and having to deal with the fiat is no joke. One feels all the weight of its immutability, and one remains immutable with its immutability, impassive to everything. It puts one in the condition of wanting whatever it wants, be they even chastisements or the very privations of Jesus that cost me so much. Of all that it wants, it grants everything, but of what the soul wants, it concedes nothing, not even one comma. But while I was thinking of this, my sweet Jesus moved in my interior and told me, my daughter, my will wants to be free in the soul, and therefore it does not want to concede even one point or one comma of what she wants, be it even a holy thing. It does not want to find limits in her. It wants to extend its dominion in everything. It wants that what my will wants and does, the soul must want to do and do as well. Therefore, it makes her feel all the weight of its immutability so as to render her immutable in such a way that she must not be subject to changing because she sees creatures suffer, or because she sees them without some temporary good, or because she wants to give it. This would be going out of its immutability. This is human sanctity. The sanctity of my will is divine sanctity and does not admit these weaknesses. If my divine will was subject to this, our justice would have to be without life in our supreme being, which cannot be. If you knew at what point our justice finds itself in these times, and if it wanted to unload itself completely over you, you would remain crushed. And my will does not want to crush you, but wants that creatures have their penalty in part. Also, to make them open their eyes from the great blindness in which they have fallen. Almost all nations live relying on debts. If they do not make debts, they cannot live. And in spite of this, they celebrate. They spare themselves nothing and are making plans of wars, incurring enormous expenses. Do you yourself not see the great blindness and madness into which they have fallen? And you, little child, would want my justice not to strike and to be lavish with temporal goods. So you would want them to become more blind and more insane. And in seeing that all your requests are not granted, you lament. And in feeling that my will has taken its place in all of your soul, leaving you no freedom in anything, you feel the power of the sanctity and the immutability of my divine will. And besides, I have told you many times that the privations of me are nothing other than voids that my justice is forming in order to strike the peoples. Therefore, my daughter, do not lose heart. You do not know how much I love you and how many treasures I have placed in you. Nor can I leave you. I must guard all the gifts I have placed in you. You must know that each one of my words is a divine gift. And how many of them have I spoken to you? And when I give a gift, I never take it back. And to be sure that my gifts are safe, I remain as guardian of my gifts and of the soul who possesses them. Therefore, let me do, and let my will reign freely in you. End of the reading. The 26th of May, 1928, Volume 24. God is order, and when he wants to give a good, he places the divine order in the midst of creatures. How our Lord, informing our Father, placed himself at the head of the kingdom of the divine fiat. I continue what is written above. As I was concerned about all that regards the kingdom of the will of God, my always lovable Jesus added, my daughter, God is order, and when he wants to give a good to creatures, he always places his divine order in it, and everything that is done in order to obtain a good so great begins from God, as he places himself at the head of it to take on the commitment, and then orders the creature for the same purpose. I did this in order to give myself the redemption, and so that creatures might receive it. And I am doing this myself to give the kingdom of the divine fiat, and so that creatures may receive it. By forming myself the Our Father, I placed myself at the head of it and took on the commitment to give this kingdom. And by teaching it to my apostles, I placed in the creatures the order of how to be able to obtain a good so great. So the whole church is praying. There is not one soul who belongs to her that does not recite the Our Father. And even though many recite it without interest in wanting and asking for a kingdom so holy, that the divine will be done on earth as it is in heaven, since the interest is in he who taught it, by their reciting it, my interest is renewed, and I hear my own prayer asking, may your kingdom come, so that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. However, if the creature, in reciting the Our Father, had this interest of wanting and longing for my kingdom, she would take part in my own interest, and her will would be fused in mine for the same purpose. But regardless of this, my will and interest always run in each Our Father. See then the divine order, all asking for one thing. Among these who ask, there are some who want to do my will, others who do it. All this is braided together, and they knock at the doors of my divine will. They repeat the knocking, and some knock strongly, some slowly. However, there is always someone who knocks and asks that the doors be opened, so that my will may descend to reign upon earth. And since everything is established and ordered by the divinity, it awaits the one who must give the strongest knock, who, forcing the doors with invincible strength, the very strength of my divine will open wide the doors, and with her sweet chains of love will bind the eternal will to make it come to reign in the midst of creatures. She will be like a bride who, bejeweling the groom with her loving chains, will carry him as though in triumph into the midst of creatures. And just as the Holy Virgin put an end to the night hours of the patriarchs and prophets and formed the dawn to make the sun of the eternal word rise, so will this one form the dawn to make rise the sun of the fiat voluntas tua on earth as it is in heaven. Do you think that my will, that has made itself known with so much love and has manifested so much interest in wanting to come to reign upon earth, pouring its sorrow out with you, has done this without anyone praying to it? No. The knocks of my church have been continuous, and I myself was knocking in those knocks, but I used them to knock at the door of the divine fiat, which, tired of hearing them knocking at its divine doors, has used you to be knocked more strongly, and opening the doors to you, it made you share in its knowledges. And for as many truths as it made known to you, so many means has it given you to form the loving chains, to let itself be bound to come to reign upon earth. And all the times it gives you to live in its divine volition, making known to you its qualities, its power, its joys, its immense riches, are as many pledges it gives you, with which it assures you of its coming upon earth. In fact, in us there is this prerogative. If we make known a good of ours, a truth, a knowledge that belongs to us, it is because we want to give to the creature as gift. See then how many gifts my will has given you, how many of its knowledges it has made known to you. They are such and so many that you yourself cannot count them. And I, my beloved Jesus, who knows when this kingdom will come? And he, my daughter, in order for redemption to come, it took 4,000 years, because the people that prayed and longed for the future Redeemer was the smallest one, or of limited number. But those that belong to my church are more peoples, and oh, how much greater in number than that one. Therefore, the number will shorten the time. More so, since religion is making its way everywhere, and this is nothing but the preparation for the kingdom of my divine will. End of the reading. The 26th of May, 1935, Volume 33. Fear, Human Virtue. Love, Divine Virtue. How trust enraptures Jesus. How one who does the divine will finds herself with all the divine works and remains confirmed in them. Although I feel myself abandoned in the arms of the divine volition, still my mind felt full of apprehensions and of fears, but I offer them to my sweet Jesus, so that he would invest them with his fiat and would change them for me into peace and love. And he, making me his brief little visit, all goodness, told me, my blessed daughter, fear, even though it be holy, is always a human virtue. It breaks the flight of love and gives birth to fear and hardship in the walk on the way of good. One is always looking to the right and to the left, and arrives at fearing he who loves her so much. It removes the sweet enchantment of trust that lets her live in the arms of her Jesus. And if she fears too much, she loses Jesus, and it makes her live by herself. On the other hand, love is divine virtue, and with its fire, it has the purifying virtue to purify the soul from any stain. It unites her and transforms her in her Jesus, and it gives her such trust as to make her enraptured by her Jesus. The sweet enchantment of trust is such and so much that they enrapture each other in turn, because the one cannot be without the other. And if she pays attention to anything, she pays attention to only if she loves he who loves her so much. In fact, all her being becomes enraptured in love. And since love is the inseparable son of the divine volition, so it gives the first place of dominion to my divine will. It extends itself in all the acts of the creature, human and spiritual. It ennobles everything. And although the human acts remain in the form and material from which they are formed, they do not change externally. All the change remains in the depth of the human will. Everything that she does remains, even the most indifferent things, changed into divine and confirmed by the divine will. Its labour is incessant, and it extends its sojourn of peace over everything that the creature does. And as true mother, it does nothing other than enrich with divine conquests its dear daughter. Therefore, banish every fear. In my volition, they have no reason to exist, neither fears, nor worries, nor mistrust. They are things that do not pertain to us, and you must do nothing other than live of love and of my will. You must know that one of the purest joys that the creature can give me is trust in me. I feel her as my daughter, and I do what I want with her. I can say that trust makes me known for who I am, that I am the immense being, my goodness without end, my mercy without limits. And when I find more trust, I love her more, and I abound more toward creatures. So I continued my abandonment in the divine volition, and I prayed him that he would pour himself over my little soul and would make me rise again, all in the divine fiat. Oh, how I would want to be one single act of divine will. And my sweet Jesus, resuming his speaking, said, my daughter, you must know that all created things and everything that I did and suffered in redemption ran after the creature in order to tell her, we bring you the love of your Creator in order to receive yours. We are his messengers, that while we descend into the depths of the earth, we rise again on high in order to bring, as in triumph, your little love to our Creator. But do you know the great good that comes to you? You remain confirmed in love and in his works, in his life, in his sufferings, in his tears, in everything. In fact, my daughter, you find yourself and you run in all our works. Our will brings you everywhere, and we find ourselves confirmed in you. An exchange of acts and of life occurs. The creature in the Creator and the Creator in the creature. She acts as repeater of the divine acts. Greater grace I could not do, nor the creature receive. This confirming in our works reproduces all our goods in her, our sanctity, goodness, love, our attributes become transmitted into her, and we enraptured contemplate her, and in our emphasis of love we say, beautiful, holy, perfect is our being in our immensity, light, power, wisdom, love, interminable goodness, but beautiful yet to see this, our immensity of attributes enclosed in the creature. Oh, how she glorifies us and she loves us. It seems that she tells us, I am little, nor is it given to me to enclose and to contain all your immensity, but what you are, so am I. Your divine will has enclosed you in me, and I love you with your same love. I glorify you with your light. I adore you with your sanctity. I can give you everything because I possess my Creator. What can my divine will not do in the creature when she lets herself be dominated by it? It can do everything. Therefore, be attentive if you want everything and to give everything. End of the reading. There are no more readings today.